Hello everyone, I thought I'd do a voiceover for this particular video. It takes me a while to type in all the information and it's just nice to be able to talk to you. So for today's video I'm using Karin Markers. They are watercolor brushes and I really like them. They're very, very pigmented and I especially like them for smaller areas because they're just so convenient. You can just kind of water the area like I always do with any of my watercolor paintings with non-traditional media like the distressing creamers. So first paint the area that I want to color with water, just plain clear water. And then I am just going in and putting just the tip of the Karin marker near the centers of the flower and kind of radiating that color out using my brush onto the water. So the outer edges of the petals are lighter and the core of the flower is darker. Just like you would see any flowers outside, you know, the inside areas are usually darker. Now for the leaf, these leaves are so big, I didn't want it to be flooded with green, so I just decided to do half and half. So I'm doing the first half and then I'll do the second half of the leaf so that the areas kind of remain separate. But as you can see, it's just laying down that first layer of color. I always tend to do 2 layers. Sometimes I will do 3 if I don't have enough depth in my paintings, but 2 layers at a minimum. So my first layer is usually just that. It's a very basic process and you can see I'm basically just repeating the same technique over and over again, no matter what part of the painting I'm coloring. So it's just one wash of water on the area that I want to color and then just going in with the tip of my Karin marker and introducing some color that I'm then spreading with the brush. This is 140-pound watercolor paper, so it can withstand a lot of water. It can take a lot of it, so I would highly recommend if you try Karin markers to make sure that you're using watercolor paper because then you have the ability to introduce a lot of water and really play with these very fluid colors. They're very highly pigmented and they are just a dream to color with. And you can see now I'm introducing my darker orange here and I will list all the colors that I used for your reference. This is just to add more depth to that area. It's still in staying safe, so I'm still in the same color family. I had a lighter orange first and then I'm using a darker orange. But if you really want your colors to pop and your flowers or any other kind of painting, even if you're doing faces or people, you really want to go in with a contrast color that will be your last step. And that would be to add real depth to your pieces. And that's a tip that I learned from Kathy Rakusin, who hosted the Daily Marker 30-day very recently, just ended yesterday. I'm continuing my daily practice. It's kind of become a habit for me now, and I guess I can confess and say it's become an addiction. Painting really gives me a lot of joy, and I think the more you practice, the better you get. As with anything, it's true. With Karin markers, I haven't played that much with my markers, so I decided that this month I'll try, in the month of August, I'll try doing some more Karin marker work along with my favorite medium that I love to use, which is the distressing creamers. But I just love how quickly you can get really polished paintings with the Karin markers because the tip is so fine, you can get into those smaller areas, introduce some color and just spread it around with some water with a very fine tipped brush. So the stamens are done, the hibiscus is done. Now is my third and final layer where I'm just going in and putting some very, very dark brown. That's my contrast color and that is what is going to make this flower pop. It has a very well-defined center now. You can see how in the flowers that do not have that brown, there is no depth. It feels flat even though there are 2 shades of orange in there. Just introducing some depth with that very dark, rich, deep brown adds so much more dimension to this painting already. And once you get over the fear of ruining your painting by introducing dark color, I had that fear initially when I had started painting, you'll realize just how much of a difference it makes. Don't be afraid. You know, at the end of the day, if you do mess up and you make it too dark, it's just paper, it's practice, you're learning. You got something out of that experiment, right? So I would really encourage you. Karin markers come in all of these different shades and there's variations of tones, so you can really play around. Like I think there are like 6 or 7 greens in the full set. So you can really go from a light green to a medium green to a dark green to a darker green, and then you can go to an almost blackish green, and that is really the beauty of being able to play when you have those variations built in and I'm not mixing colors here. I'm just basically diluting them with water and spreading them around, and kind of the paper and the water, there's this dance that's happening between the brush, the water, and the paper when they're all mixing together and kind of creating their own fluidity, their own movement, telling their own story. I'm kind of just the facilitator. So I would really encourage you to try that with your markers. It's really fun to keep introducing little bits of color, and you have the ability to do that because of the fine tip. And I also wanted to show you that it's possible to do background washes with these markers too. And I could have called this painting done without introducing the blue background, but I really wanted to demonstrate that if you take a very thick brush and apply a lot of water and let that color bleed, you can see I'm just kind of outlining the flowers and the leaves, and I'm just letting it bleed to the rest of the page. It has this beautiful, soft, ethereal effect. And again, experiment, play, have fun, really just, let it go, and don't be worried about making mistakes. That's how we all learn. We all make mistakes. Those are the best tools to learn. So I hope that you will enjoy this video and will try out these markers. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will continue making more videos since it seems to be one of the things that you enjoy watching on my feed here. So thanks again for your support.